Millionaire husband's secret weekend getaway with Mistress exposed by pregnant wife's surprise visit. Amid the glittering skyline of Los Angeles, a storm was brewing behind closed doors. Marina Carlyle, nearly 6 months pregnant and already wrestling with her husband's distant behavior, felt an unsettling rumble in her heart. Late-night meetings, vague explanations, and the lingering scent of perfume she'd never worn haunted her thoughts. Edwin Carlyle, a celebrated entrepreneur with an ever-growing empire, had become a stranger in their own mansion. When a suspicious charge appeared on his credit card statement, Marina's suspicions exploded into a single, unwavering question: was he hiding something? Driven by love, fear, and a growing sense of betrayal, she braced for the answers she wished weren't true. Marina Carlyle had grown accustomed to the glow of luxury. Draped in designer gowns and often photographed at Hollywood's most exclusive events, she appeared to be living a dream, yet that dream teetered on the brink of collapse. Every morning, Edwin Carlyle, her handsome, self-made millionaire husband, slipped out before dawn, leaving her to wake alone. Their relationship had once been fueled by passion and late-night laughter. Now, she found only half-truths and distance. She hadn't always lived in a gilded cage. Marina grew up in a modest family home in San Diego, with supportive parents who instilled in her a deep sense of loyalty and integrity. When she first met Edwin, she was working as a junior reporter for a local magazine. Interviewing him for a cover story on rising entrepreneurs, she'd been smitten by his drive, authenticity, and the warmth that seemed to radiate from behind his hazel eyes. Despite their contrasting worlds, they fell in love quickly. Everyone hailed it as a fairy tale match. He was building Carlyle Media Ventures into a powerhouse, and she was the vivacious journalist capturing hearts with her empathetic storytelling. For 3 dazzling years they enjoyed lavish travels, philanthropic galas, and cozy evenings by the fireplace. But everything changed around the time she became pregnant. Suddenly, Edwin's schedule seemed more elusive. His phone never left his side, and he often dodged personal questions with exasperating half-answers. Just business. Love, he'd say, forcing a reassuring smile. Marina tried to remain hopeful. She told herself that a growing empire demanded more of Edwin's time, that it was normal for him to stress over expansion deals with Addison and Shaw Consultancy and partnerships with tech moguls. Yet the pang of loneliness lodged itself in her chest. She'd lie in bed, her hand resting protectively over the small bump, feeling the baby's gentle kicks and wishing Edwin was there to share in the wonder. The final blow to her illusions came on a sunny afternoon when she was rummaging through a stack of unread mail. One envelope caught her eye: La Sierra Resort and Spa. Inside, she found a receipt for booking a penthouse suite, weekend reservation for 2. The check-in date was the upcoming Friday, the same weekend Edwin had told her he'd be traveling to Silicon Valley for urgent acquisitions. Suspicion flared. Could the spa trip be a surprise for her? But the booking listed only one name: Edwin Carlyle. Under guest preference, a note read, "Romantic turn-down service requested. 2 guests." A wave of dread thundered through her. She could hardly breathe as she pictured her husband, smiling arm in arm with another woman, at a luxury resort meant for couples. She phoned him immediately. His voice was tense when he answered. "Marina, can I call you later? I'm in the middle of a big meeting," she swallowed, forcing her tone to remain calm. "Sure," she said. I need to talk to you about this weekend." "I'm afraid it's back-to-back meetings in Northern California," he mumbled. "But let's talk tonight, okay? Love you." He hung up before she could reply. Marina stared at the receipt again, her world crashing around her. In that moment, the shimmering veneer of her perfect marriage cracked. She told herself she had to do something, anything, to find out the truth. And if that meant confronting Edwin at La Sierra Resort, she would face the heartbreak head-on. In the days following her discovery, Marina wrestled with a storm of emotions. She alternated between anger, sorrow, and a grim resolve to uncover the truth. Despite her roiling suspicions, she carefully maintained her routine, refusing to alert Edwin about her plans. The weekend loomed closer, bringing the silent threat of confrontation. Late one night, as she scrolled through old photos of them, bright smiles in Paris, glitzy galas in Beverly Hills, she felt tears welling up. Where had that sense of closeness gone? A small kick from within her belly reminded her there was more at stake now than just their marriage. A child was coming into the world. This wasn't a matter of simply walking away or pretending nothing was wrong. She needed clarity, no matter how painful. Marina decided to share her discovery with her close friend, Bethany Park, a fashion publicist with a knack for discretion. Over cappuccinos in a hidden cafe, Marina showed her the spa receipt. Bethany's eyes widened in alarm. "This is definitely suspicious," she said in a hushed voice. "But maybe there's a chance it's all a misunderstanding?" Marina shook her head. "I want to believe that. But too many things don't add up. His constant business trips, the credit card charges that don't match any vendors he usually deals with. And now this spa reservation. It's always the same pattern." Bethany reached across the table, giving Marina's hand a comforting squeeze. "If you're determined to go to La Sierra, you can't go alone. Let me come with you. We'll figure out how to handle it. You won't face it by yourself." Marina's gratitude was palpable, yet she also felt a pang of guilt. She wished there were no need for such cloak and dagger tactics. Part of her still hoped for a miracle, for Edwin to tell her it was all an elaborate miscommunication. But a deeper, more fearful part knew the truth would likely break her heart. That afternoon, she returned to the Carlisle mansion, determined to keep a low profile. She found Edwin in his office, poring over spreadsheets. "Hectic day?" she asked, trying to appear casual. He responded with a faint smile. "The new venture acquisitions are a headache, but it's going well." Then, as if suddenly remembering, he added, "I might need to leave tomorrow, not Friday, because the negotiations in San Jose got moved up." "Another change?" she asked, feigning mild surprise. "Wow, your schedule is insane." He exhaled wearily, leaning back in his leather chair. "I know, and I hate being away from you, especially now." His eyes flicked to her pregnant belly, where the gentle curve showed plainly beneath her blouse. "But I promise, once this deal is done, we'll have time to breathe." She nodded, swallowing a lump in her throat. How can he speak so tenderly, all while planning a secret getaway? She forced a smile, feeling his gentle kiss on her forehead before she slipped out of the room. That night, Marina steeled her resolve. She packed a small overnight bag, neatly folded comfortable clothes, and jotted down a plan with Bethany. They'd drive separately to La Sierra Resort. On Friday morning, Marina would check in under a different name to avoid immediate attention. Bethany, who had a reason to visit a client in the same region, would come later in the afternoon. If all went well, they'd confirm Edwin's presence, see if he was with someone else, and then decide how best to confront him. She prayed that the plan wouldn't be necessary, that maybe Edwin would cancel the suspicious trip or come clean before the weekend. But as Thursday night arrived, no such miracle occurred. The next morning, he left at dawn, lugging a small suitcase and kissing her goodbye. Marina watched him drive away from the window, heart pounding in her chest. She wanted to cry, but she forced herself into action. Pulling out of their driveway half an hour later, she felt like a detective in her own life. She had to follow the truth, wherever it led, no matter the cost. A few hours later, Marina navigated her car along a winding highway framed by lofty palm trees and dramatic desert landscapes. In the distance, the structure of La Sierra Resort rose like an oasis, modern architecture blending seamlessly with the surrounding hills, its facade adorned with sprawling balconies and lush vegetation. A sense of dread mingled with curiosity in her stomach. She'd never visited La Sierra, although she'd heard glowing reviews from the city's elite. Supposedly it was a private paradise for those seeking luxury, tranquility, and, apparently, secret rendezvous. She pulled up to the valet circle, trying not to appear too anxious. A polite attendant opened her door, offering a warm smile. "Welcome to La Sierra, ma'am. Checking in?" "Yes," she murmured, handing over her keys. Inside, the lobby soared with high glass ceilings. Sunlight streamed in, reflecting on polished stone floors. A tasteful water installation burbled in the center, flanked by orchids. The entire place exuded calmness. Marina approached the front desk and introduced herself by a pseudonym, Marina Roberts, cautious not to raise suspicion. She'd prepaid a single-night reservation, claiming to be on a personal retreat. The receptionist typed away on a sleek monitor, returning her ID with professional courtesy. "Your room is on the 5th floor, Miss Roberts. Shall I have a bellhop bring up your luggage?" Marina nodded her thanks. The entire check-in process felt surreal. She half expected Edwin to stride into the lobby at any moment, surprise crossing his face as he spotted her. But everything remained calm, ordinary. She made her way through scented hallways to her room, a compact suite with panoramic views of the desert valley, far smaller than the penthouse arrangement. She collapsed onto the bed, letting out a shaky breath. Time crawled. She scanned the resort's website on her phone, gleaning tidbits about the penthouse suite's location. A quick glance at the floor plan indicated it was perched on the top floor, boasting a private terrace and spa. If Edwin had indeed arrived, he'd likely be settling in. The question gnawed at her. Was he alone? Mid-afternoon approached, and Marina's phone buzzed with Bethany's text, "Stuck in traffic." Another hour or so. Hang tight. She set her phone down, nerves on edge. Finally, she decided to do some recon. Changing into a casual sundress and throwing on a wide-brimmed hat, she slipped out into the corridor. Her plan was simple: a stroll around the hotel, checking common areas like the restaurant, bar, and pool lounge. If Edwin was out in the open, she'd spot him. The resort thronged with couples in matching robes, business types tapping away on laptops, and well-heeled families enjoying a weekend treat. Marina walked past the spa entrance, a space dotted with candlelit decor and plush seating, but saw no sign of her husband. She meandered towards a labyrinthine courtyard, fragrant with lavender. Her gaze darted from face to face, each passing moment further fueling her disquiet. Eventually, she spotted a roped-off staircase guarded by a discreet sign, "Penthouse level, private access." Her pulse quickened. That had to be where Edwin was staying. A staff member stood near the rope, only letting certain guests through, presumably those with the correct room key. She lingered a moment, uncertain whether to attempt a bold approach or retreat. Before she could decide, a hotel employee carrying a room service tray dashed past, nearly colliding with her. "Pardon me," he apologized, breathless. "Penthouse order. They want this delivered promptly." She froze, eyes trailing the man. Penthouse order. That could be him. The idea of following the room service attendant flashed through her mind, but she worried about drawing suspicion. So she stepped back, feeling her heart clench. Something was definitely happening up there, possibly something she dreaded to confirm. Retreating to the courtyard's edge, she found a discreet bench behind potted plants. She sat down, exhaling a shaky breath. Each second that ticked by amplified the sense that the next hour or so would change her life forever. If it was indeed a weekend getaway for Edwin and another woman, she'd soon have undeniable proof. And if, by some slim chance, it was an elaborate surprise meant for her, she might be on the verge of shattering her marriage for no reason. Though she tried to steady her mind, the swirling what-ifs felt relentless. She cradled her bump, whispering a promise to the life within her. "No matter what happens, I'll keep you safe." In that moment, She resolved that if heartbreak lay on the other side of these next few hours, she would face it with the quiet strength she'd inherited from her family. Truth was the only path forward now. After her reconnaissance attempt, Marina returned to her suite, adrenaline wearing off, exhaustion settling in. The swirl of unrelenting questions and tension had left her drained. She flopped onto the plush chair by the window, mind drifting to the first time she interviewed Edwin all those years ago, how he had seemed so genuine, so unlike the archetypal wealthy entrepreneur. Now, in this moment, she questioned every memory, every heartfelt confession he'd ever made. Her phone vibrated with a new message. It was Bethany, finally here. "Where are you?" Marina texted back her room number. Soon she heard a soft rap on the door. She let Bethany in, the friend's expression a mirror of concern. "You okay?" Bethany asked, hugging her gently. Marina shook her head. "I feel like I'm living a nightmare. I walked around, saw the penthouse area. I'm pretty sure he's up there. Room service is going in and out." Bethany nodded grimly. "We need a plan. Confrontation in a crowded hallway might turn chaotic. Maybe we can watch from a distance, catch him in the act, confirm who he's with. Then you decide how to proceed." Marina's chest tightened. "I'm scared," she whispered, "but I need to do this." Bethany squeezed her hand. "We'll handle it together. Also," she hesitated, then continued, "I talked to a friend who works for Addison and Shaw Consultancy. She said their big meeting with Carlyle Media Ventures was actually postponed. So, if Edwin told you he had back-to-back negotiations this weekend, that's a lie." Any faint hope that the spa trip was an innocent mistake evaporated. Marina clenched her fists. "So it's definitely a cover." Bethany's phone buzzed, interrupting them. She glanced at the screen, an apologetic look crossing her face. "I have to meet my client in the lobby bar in 15 minutes. It's a quick meet and greet, but I'll hurry back. Meanwhile, you should rest, or maybe see if you can glean any more info." Marina nodded, urging Bethany to go handle her business. Once alone, Marina realized she couldn't just sit idle. She stepped back into the hallway, taking a different route this time, hoping to cross paths with staff who might reveal something without realizing it. She made her way to the front desk, feigning a smile. "Excuse me," she said to a young receptionist. "I'm trying to get a hold of my husband, but his phone isn't answering. He's in the penthouse suite, I believe." The receptionist typed on her computer, eyes scanning the screen. "We do have a Mr. Carlyle in the penthouse. Are you Miss S. Carlyle?" Marina paused, heart pounding. "We share the same last name, yes, but I'm staying separately for now. Could you connect me to his room?" The receptionist frowned politely. "I can't disclose room details. However, I can try calling the suite from the desk. May I have your name so I can let him know who's calling?" A jolt of nerves shook Marina. She realized if she gave her real name, the game might be up. She panicked, stammering, "It might be better if I just find him myself." "Never mind." She quickly retreated, feeling the weight of her own deception. She glimpsed the receptionist's puzzled expression as she left. Spinning on her heel, she walked briskly across the lobby. And that's when fate intervened. She practically collided with a tall man carrying a thick folder, his papers scattered, and Marina rushed to help gather them. "I'm so sorry," she said breathlessly. He managed a wry smile. "No worries, it's my fault. I'm in a rush." As they scooped up the documents, Marina caught glimpses of letterheads, Addison and Shaw Consultancy. Her heart jumped. "You work for Addison and Shaw?" He nodded, adjusting his glasses. "Yeah, I'm Everett Addison. My father co-founded the firm." He paused, noticing her interest. "Are you here for the conference, or?" Marina realized this was an unexpected chance. Let's just say I might be married to one of your prospective clients, Edwin Carlyle. Could we talk?" Everett's eyes widened in recognition. Carlyle Media Ventures. I've heard the name in our pipeline, but we postponed that joint meeting. Didn't realize he was still traveling. Marina forced a sad smile. It's complicated. If you have a moment, maybe you could confirm something for me. I'm trying to figure out if the business negotiations were rescheduled. Her voice trembled slightly. I'm sorry if this is out of line. Everett looked uncertain, but he sensed her distress. After a moment, he sighed. Look, if it helps clarify, our meeting with Mr. Carlyle was indeed postponed. We have no big negotiations scheduled this weekend. We even sent an email to his team confirming it. Marina's stomach twisted. So you're not meeting him here? He shook his head. No, I'm just here for a separate client. I don't even have an appointment with Carlyle. We're not sure when the rescheduled date is. Possibly next month. It was the final nail in the coffin of Edwin's story. Blinking back tears, Marina mustered a quick thank you and watched Everett Addison hurry off, presumably late to another engagement. Now every doubt was gone. Edwin had lied about the reason for his trip, and the penthouse suite was definitely not for business. Returning to her room, she collapsed into an armchair, tears finally spilling down her cheeks. The evidence was overwhelming. In a matter of hours, she'd confront the man she thought she knew better than anyone, and she had to do it while coping with the knowledge that her husband's betrayal was far more elaborate than she'd ever imagined. Just after sunset, Bethany returned, her expression grave. My client meeting ended early. You look terrible. Did something else happen? She asked, concern etched across her features. Marina relayed her encounter with Everett Addison and the final confirmation that Edwin's business trip was a sham. Bethany's eyes flared with anger. So that's it then. He's definitely hiding something. Or someone. They decided the time for speculation was over. Bethany quietly asked a hotel employee if the penthouse suite had private dining. When the staffer confirmed that the occupant recently requested a romantic in-room dinner for two, the last shred of doubt evaporated. That's all we need to know, Bethany murmured, gently rubbing Marina's shoulder. You can't keep torturing yourself. We need to catch him in the act. Marina swallowed, fear mixing with fury. How? We can't just barge in, she said. Bethany pulled out her phone. I'm calling the front desk, telling them your name is on the authorized list for the penthouse visitor. If that fails, we can request an urgent message to Mr. Carlyle, like a family emergency. That might get us up there. She paused. Is that okay? Marina nodded, tears gathering at the corners of her eyes. Yes, she whispered. I have to see for myself. I have to see the face of the woman he's chosen over me, over our child. Bethany placed the call, weaving a story about how Miss S. Carlyle needed to meet her husband in the suite. A few minutes later, the front desk confirmed that her name was noted. We can escort you up, Miss Carlyle, or you can just proceed to the elevator, the receptionist offered. Her heart thumped wildly as she and Bethany stepped into the private elevator that led to the penthouse. Each passing floor ratcheted up the tension. She felt faint, clutching her belly protectively. The baby seemed to sense her turmoil, giving a small kick. We'll be okay, she mouthed silently. When the elevator doors opened, they found themselves in a small, private lobby. Soft light fell on a mahogany door labeled Penthouse Suite. Bethany squeezed her hand one last time. You ready? Marina nodded, her throat dry. They approached the door. She heard faint music trickling through some jazz melody. She raised a trembling fist and knocked. For a moment, silence. Then footsteps approached. The door swung open, revealing a strikingly beautiful woman in a silk robe, hair tumbling in glossy waves around her shoulders. She looked at Marina and Bethany in confusion. Yes. Can I help you? Marina's heart lurched. Clearly this was no business partner, no assistant. Bethany found her voice first. We're here to see Edwin Carlyle, she stated, unwavering. The woman's eyes narrowed. He's resting. And who are you? Marina swallowed, stepping forward. I'm his wife. A flicker of panic crossed the woman's features. She glanced over her shoulder, calling out, Edwin, we have visitors. Within seconds, Edwin appeared behind her, his face drained of color at the sight of Marina standing in the doorway. Marina, he choked out, stepping forward. He fumbled for words as he quickly put himself between her and the woman, as though that could shield the truth. Marina, tears brimming, gazed at them both. She couldn't decide if it was heartbreak or rage that dominated her expression. Finally, she found her voice. I see I've interrupted your business meeting. The woman in the robe bristled at the sarcasm, crossing her arms. Look, she spat. I don't know what you're doing here, but Edwin and I, be quiet. Gabriella, Edwin hissed, panic fueling his tone. He reached out to gently touch Marina's arm. This isn't what you think, love. Let me explain. Explain? Marina's voice trembled. Explain how you told me you were going to San Jose for negotiations. Explain why you're holed up in a penthouse with a romantic dinner, or do I need Addison and Shaw's own Everett Addison to come? Confirm your meeting was cancelled? Edwin's eyes widened in disbelief. Gabriella, however, rolled her eyes in exasperation. You lied to me too? She demanded, glaring at him. I thought your wife was out of the picture. You said, but the rest of her words blurred to Marina's ears. She felt a wave of dizziness, a culmination of her pregnancy, exhaustion, and heartbreak. The room tilted. Bethany quickly caught her, exclaiming in alarm, Marina, are you okay? Edwin rushed forward as well, genuine fear crossing his face. Marina, please, sit down. He tried to guide her to a nearby sofa, but she jerked away, her eyes blazing even while her body swayed. Don't touch me, she hissed. I only came here for the truth, and I got it. Gabriella stood to the side, tension etched into her features. Outside, the desert sky darkened with the onset of night. And inside the penthouse suite, the final facade of trust between Marina and Edwin lay in tatters, the raw betrayal gleaming under the luxurious glow of a 5-star suite. Bethany helped Marina ease onto a velvet armchair in the lounge area, her breath shaky. She pressed a hand protectively against her bump, trying to regulate the swirl of emotions. Edwin and Gabriella hovered nearby, tension radiating from both. A single lamp illuminated the suite, casting dramatic shadows on the walls. Marina struggled to form her words. Who is she? She finally demanded, her gaze flicking between them. Edwin swallowed hard. This is Gabriella Rossi, he said quietly, his voice unsteady. We met at a charity gala months ago. She runs a marketing firm in Europe, and we started talking. Marina let out a bitter laugh, and talking turned into secret getaways, candlelit dinners, and lying to your pregnant wife. She glared at Gabriella. How long has this been going on? Gabriella's lips curled with a mixture of defiance and regret. She looked at Edwin, hesitating, then said, in a clipped tone, about 3 months. It's not my fault he lied about the extent of your marriage. He said you two were basically separated. Marina's jaw tensed. We're not separated. We're expecting a baby, his baby. She felt her throat constrict, the reality of speaking those words in front of Edwin's mistress turning her stomach. Edwin moved closer, regret shining in his eyes. Marina, the first, so sorry, he pleaded. Things got complicated. It started innocently business discussions, dinners. Then I felt neglected or misunderstood. It's no excuse, but you chose this, she snapped. You chose to betray me. Don't you dare blame me for your affair. Gabriella crossed her arms, turning hostile. Look, I had no idea you were still intimately involved. He told me you two were living like roommates. That's all. Marina turned to her, voice shaking. Roommates? We share a bed, or we did, until he started these business trips. I'm pregnant with his child, for God's sake. A wave of dizziness hit her again. She fought the urge to collapse under the weight of the conversation. Bethany, standing by with clenched fists, stepped forward. Okay, this is enough. Marina's health comes first. We've got the truth, and that's all we need. Edwin, you want to do anything for your wife right now? Then back off and let her breathe. Gabriella, you too. Gabriella looked rattled, a flicker of genuine concern crossing her face. She looks pale, she muttered. Maybe we should call a doctor. Marina shook her head, her breath evening out. I'm fine. I need to leave this suite. I can't stand being surrounded by your betrayal a second longer. She struggled to stand, and Edwin instinctively tried to help her. She recoiled from his touch. Please, Marina, he whispered, tears forming. Let me make this right. She stared at him, eyes brimming with heartbreak and fury. Make this right? She echoed. You've thrown away our marriage for a fling. You humiliated me. And worst of all, you lied to me over and over. Her voice cracked. Do you realize how you've risked the health of me and our baby with this stress? Edwin blinked, pained. It was never meant to go this far. I never wanted to hurt you. I got swept up in a world that made me feel alive. But it's you I love, truly. Gabriella's eyes sparked with betrayal. So all those confessions about your dying marriage, about how I was the only one who understood you, were they just lines? Edwin pressed a hand to his forehead. I was confused, angry at my situation. I felt like Marina was always busy, always pressuring me. But I see how wrong I was. Marina felt a flash of indignation, pressuring you. I was building a life with you, supporting you, adjusting to your schedule, carrying your child. And if that's pressure, you're too weak a man to handle real responsibilities. Edwin exhaled a trembling breath, tears on the brink of spilling. Gabriella, catching the brunt of his half-confession, took a step back, her expression shifting from anger to a hollow sort of devastation. She turned toward the bedroom. I can't believe this, she mumbled, disappearing inside and leaving the door ajar behind her. Bethany cleared her throat, drawing the tension back to the moment. Marina, let's go. This place is toxic. She slid her arm around Marina, who nodded resolutely. Their plan to catch him had succeeded, but the emotional toll was staggering. Before they left, Marina locked eyes with Edwin one last time. You've broken more than our vows, Edwin. I don't know if I'll ever forgive you, but right now I need to focus on my health and our baby. Don't come near me until I decide what's next. A hush hung in the suite, with only the faint rustle of the desert wind beyond the balcony. Edwin stood there, shoulders sagging, face etched in desperation. Marina's tears finally fell as she allowed Bethany to guide her out the door. The final echo of her footsteps down the penthouse corridor was the funeral march to any illusion of a happily ever after. In the hours following the harrowing confrontation, Marina felt as though she was drifting in a haze of heartbreak. She and Bethany retreated to Marina's smaller suite, where the swirl of emotions only intensified. Bethany made a pot of herbal tea, urging her friend to sip slowly and breathe. The aftershock left Marina trembling, her mind unable to settle. You have to focus on you and your baby, Bethany reminded gently, pressing a warm compress against Marina's shoulders. You've confirmed the betrayal. There's no more doubt. Marina stared at her reflection in the dark window, eyes red and swollen. I never thought it had come to this. He was my rock, you know. The man who lit up my world. Bethany nodded in empathy, brushing hair out of Marina's face. I know it's unimaginable right now, but you'll find a way through. A part of Marina wanted to jump in her car and drive straight home, leaving the entire fiasco behind. But she doubted she could handle the journey alone in her state. Despite the late hour, they decided to stay the night at La Sierra. The next morning, they'd return to Los Angeles. Maybe by then, Marina would have a clearer sense of her next move. Sleep proved elusive. As she tossed and turned, memories of her relationship with Edwin morphed into nightmares. She saw him dancing with Gabriella, the baby disappearing from her arms. She jerked awake at dawn, tears staining her cheeks. Bethany stirred from a cot she'd asked housekeeping to bring in. "Morning, you okay?" she asked, voice laced with concern. Marina shook her head, rubbing her temples. "Couldn't rest. Let's get out of here." They quickly packed. On their way to the car, an unexpected figure stood by the valet station, Edwin Carlyle himself. Looking haggard, dark circles under his eyes. He must have spent a sleepless night as well. He approached cautiously. As soon as he spotted them, Marina's heart hammered in her chest. She tightened her grip on her suitcase handle. Bethany stepped protectively closer, but Marina held up a hand, signaling that she could manage. "What do you want?" she asked Edwin, voice brittle. He opened his palms, a posture of surrender, to talk. "Just for a moment. Gabriella is leaving. I told her it's over. I want to fix this, Marina." She laughed without humor. "Fix it? You can't just say, 'It's over with her,' and expect me to trust you again." "I know," he murmured, voice cracking, "but I need you to understand. My father's company thrived on my leadership these last few years, and I felt the weight of everyone's expectations. I guess I started feeling trapped, like our marriage wasn't enough, or something was missing. It's no excuse for what I did, but it happened, and I'm deeply, horribly sorry." Marina's eyes brimmed with tears again, the morning sun casting harsh light on her heartbreak. "So you tore our vows apart because you felt trapped?" "I was pregnant, still am, and you decide the best course is to find comfort in another woman." She swallowed hard, trying not to let her sorrow devolve into full sobs. He stepped closer, voice shaking. "I was selfish, a coward. I got caught up in the excitement with Gabriella, ignoring the damage it would cause. And then I lied because I feared losing everything. But now I see I've already lost you, maybe forever." Marina's heart twisted painfully. In the half-light of dawn, she saw genuine regret etched on his face, but her trust was shredded. She turned her head away. "You haven't just hurt me, you've hurt our child. This is more than just you and me. I need time to figure out what to do next. Don't call me. Don't come home. I'll reach out when I'm ready." Edwin's shoulders sagged. "Marina, please," but she shook her head, tears sliding down her cheeks. "If you truly respect me, you'll give me space." She motioned for the valet to bring her car. Bethany gently guided her forward, whispering words of support. A small crowd of curious onlookers lingered near the lobby, no doubt sensing the tension. As they pulled away from the resort, Marina stared out the window at the palm-lined driveway, mind spinning with confusion and grief. The crisp desert morning felt merciless. Bethany placed a hand on her knee, giving it a comforting squeeze, but said nothing. The betrayal was a burden that only time, introspection, and perhaps forgiveness, if possible, could ease. Driving back to Los Angeles took several hours, punctuated by tense silences and quiet reassurances from Bethany. Marina gazed blankly out at the desert landscape, her thoughts scattered. Each mile felt like it carried her further from a life she had once cherished, yet deeper into an unknown future she feared. When they finally reached the Carlyle mansion, its sweeping gates and manicured lawns a testament to Edwin's wealth, Marina felt a shiver of dread. She was in no state to face the staff's questions or the echoing emptiness of their shared bedroom. But she also realized she had no immediate alternatives. Her own family home was in San Diego, and she hadn't summoned the courage to share the meltdown of her marriage with her parents yet. She needed time to process. Bethany pulled the car into the circular driveway. "Do you want me to come in with you?" she asked gently. Marina hesitated, then nodded. "Yes, I just can't be alone in there right now." They entered the house, greeted by the subdued hush of midday. Only a few household staff moved about, dusting or arranging flowers. The butler, Mr. Hensley, approached with a cautious smile. "Welcome back, Miss S. Carlyle. I didn't realize you'd be returning so soon. Shall I bring refreshments?" Marina forced a polite nod. "Some water would be great, thank you." She hoped her trembling voice didn't betray the emotional turmoil swirling inside. She and Bethany settled in the sunroom, glass walls overlooking the manicured garden. Marina gripped the arms of the wicker chair, scanning the space that once felt so safe. Now it felt alien. The ghost of Edwin's presence, lingered memories of them, sharing coffee in the mornings, discussing their baby's future. She pressed a hand to her belly, feeling a fleeting kick. Bethany sat across from her, leaning forward. "What's your plan?" she asked softly. Marina swallowed. "I need to figure out if this marriage is salvageable. I loved him for so long, but the breach of trust is so deep, and the baby, they deserve a father, but not one who can't keep his vows." Bethany nodded, understanding. "We could gather some legal advice, just to know your rights. That doesn't mean you have to file for anything." Marina considered it. She realized she didn't even know the details of their prenuptial agreement, hammered out years ago in a whirlwind of romance and naive faith that they'd never need it. Maybe that's wise. "I can't navigate this alone." The distant hum of an engine alerted them that another car had arrived. Moments later, Mr. Hensley reappeared, looking anxious. "Miss Carlyle, Mr. Edwin has arrived." "Shall I let him in?" Panic fluttered in her chest. "He's back already?" "I told him I needed space." She glanced at Bethany in dismay. Bethany frowned, then addressed Mr. Hensley. "Please tell him Marina isn't available for conversation right now. She'll reach out if and when she wants to speak to him." Mr. Hensley nodded and departed. Through the tall windows, they saw Edwin step out of his car, face set with determination. He exchanged a few terse words with the butler. After a moment, "Mr." Hensley motioned to the gate, likely advising him to leave. Despite her anger, Marina felt a pang of sadness, watching him stand there, shoulders slumped in rejection. He hesitated a moment, as if considering forcing his way in. Then, slowly, he got back into his car and drove off. The quiet returned, leaving a deep ache behind. Bethany reached out to take Marina's hand. "You did the right thing. You said you needed space." "He needs to respect that." Marina inhaled, letting tears slip down her cheeks. "The right thing. It doesn't make it hurt any less. I can't believe how quickly everything fell apart." A hush stretched between them. In the kitchen, a maid quietly prepared the water and a light snack, setting the tray on the table. As Marina tried to nibble on fruit, she realized her appetite had vanished. The child in her womb gave a gentle flutter, a poignant reminder that she must keep herself healthy, no matter the heartbreak. In that fragile moment, she resolved to take Bethany's advice, seek legal counsel, speak to her family, and weigh her options carefully. Whether the road led to divorce, reconciliation, or something in between, she knew she had to forge a new reality, one that prioritized herself and her unborn child above any illusions of a perfect marriage. Over the next few days, a somber routine settled in. Edwin remained conspicuously absent from the mansion, respecting Marina's demand for space. He texted daily, short pleas to speak in person, to apologize again, to discuss the baby's future. She rarely responded, still shattered by the extent of his deceit. Bethany arranged a meeting with an esteemed family law attorney, Lydia Reynolds, who specialized in high-profile divorces and prenuptial agreements. Marina felt anxious as she entered the elegant office in downtown L.A. The same feeling she had before, stepping into crucial interviews back in her journalism days, except this time her own life was on the line. Lydia greeted them warmly, ushering them into a private conference room. She wore a calm smile, her presence reassuring. Marina Bethany, please sit. I've reviewed your email outlining the broad strokes. Let's discuss your options. Marina sank into a leather chair, clasping her hands nervously. I don't even know if I want a divorce, she began, voice trembling. I just need to know my rights. For me and the baby. Lydia nodded. That's completely understandable. First, let's go over the prenuptial agreement you signed. My assistant was able to retrieve a copy from the county records. It outlines some general provisions about property division in the event of a divorce, but it doesn't specifically address child support or custody. We'll negotiate those if you proceed with a legal separation or divorce. Marina felt her heart pound. She'd never imagined she'd be discussing these details. So, hypothetically, if I do choose to end the marriage, the prenuptial stands, am I protected financially? Lydia folded her hands. Yes, though it's standard for individuals in your position to receive certain allocations. The prenuptial ensures that Edwin's pre-marital assets remain his. However, the mansion is in both names, and any property or business expansions acquired during the marriage could be contested. Additionally, you can negotiate spousal support and child support. The baby's welfare will be paramount to any court. Bethany chimed in softly. Marina's main concern is stability for her and the child. Marina glanced at her folded hands. I also care about emotional well-being. Is there a route that doesn't lead to a vicious legal battle? Lydia nodded sympathetically. Absolutely. Some couples choose counseling or trial separations. Collaborative divorce is another approach, focusing on a peaceful resolution. However, it all depends on how cooperative your husband is. Marina swallowed hard. He's been trying to contact me. He says he wants to fix this. But how do I believe him? Lydia leaned forward, eyes kind. You don't have to decide today. If you want time to see whether he's genuine in seeking reconciliation, you can do that. In the meantime, I can file for a legal separation that outlines temporary arrangements. That way, you're protected financially, and custody parameters for the baby can be set once the child is born. Marina exhaled, relief and sorrow mingling. I never wanted it to come to this. Bethany reached across, giving her hand a reassuring squeeze. Sometimes we don't choose the circumstances that force our hand, but you're making sure you and your child are safe. The meeting continued for over an hour, exploring possible scenarios. By the end, Marina felt both exhausted and strangely empowered. She had a framework for how to proceed, whether that meant forging a life without Edwin or tentatively allowing him a path back under strict conditions. Later that afternoon, with the legal complexities somewhat clarified, Marina decided to seek emotional support too. She reached out to her mother, Elaine, in San Diego, carefully explaining the broad strokes of the affair without divulging every excruciating detail. Elaine's shock and sadness rippled through the phone line. Oh, sweetheart, I'm so sorry. Your father and I will support you, whatever you decide. Hearing her mother's comforting voice brought fresh tears to Marina's eyes. I might come visit soon, she said quietly. I just need to breathe. LA is suffocating right now. Elaine offered to drive up immediately, but Marina insisted on taking things one day at a time. She wanted to prepare emotionally for any family reunion. As she ended the call, she rested a hand on her bump, feeling the gentle stir of life inside. The baby's presence, more than anything else, propelled her forward. She realized that no matter the shape of her future with Edwin, she had to ensure that she remained strong for her child. And so, with a mixture of resolve and heartbreak, Marina found herself on the threshold of a new chapter, one where illusions had been stripped away, leaving her with the raw truth and the daunting freedom to decide what came next. The following week, a delicate kind of calm settled over the Carlisle mansion. Marina spent her days organizing the nursery, finalizing a color scheme of soft mint and cream, choosing plush animals and minimalistic decor. Each item she selected felt like a tangible commitment to the future, regardless of whether Edwin would be part of it. She needed to anchor herself in positivity for the baby's sake. Meanwhile, Bethany became a constant presence, checking in regularly, helping with errands, and serving as the unwavering support system Marina desperately needed. Together, they sorted baby clothes donated by a friend, laughed over potential baby names, and occasionally paused to let the weight of the situation roll over them. Edwin, for his part, respected Marina's request for distance. He stayed at a penthouse apartment in the city, a property he'd purchased for short-term stays. Each night, he sent a single text, "I love you, and I'm sorry. I'm ready to do whatever it takes." Marina rarely replied, but the repeated attempts hinted that maybe this time his remorse was genuine. One afternoon, an unexpected visitor arrived. Lydia Reynolds, the attorney. She'd called in advance, asking to drop off some documents in person. "I brought a draft of the separation agreement," she explained upon entering. Marina led her to the living room, heart pounding a little at the sight of a thick envelope in Lydia's hand. Bethany hovered by the door, offering to step out, but Marina invited her to stay. She wanted the moral support. Lydia opened the folder. "It outlines terms if you choose to live separately leading up to the baby's birth, plus any immediate financial provisions. You don't have to sign it today. Read it over carefully." Marina nodded, flipping through the pages. Words like custody, spousal support, and marital property jumped out, stark and formal. Her eyes misted with tears. This was no longer an abstract idea, it was the blueprint of a life divided. She swallowed. "And if we decide to try again," Lydia offered a reassuring smile. "That's entirely your decision. You can hold off on filing anything. You can also incorporate a reconciliation clause, basically stating that if you both sign an agreement to continue therapy or counseling, the separation terms will be paused. But that's a bit more complex." Bethany gently rested a hand on Marina's shoulder. "You have options, at least." At that moment, the front door opened. A familiar voice spoke softly with Mr. Hensley. Then Edwin stepped into the hallway, carrying a bouquet of lilies, Marina's favorite flower. He paused upon seeing Lydia and Bethany, then forced a polite nod. "I'm sorry for the intrusion, but can I talk to my wife?" Marina's heart thumped painfully. Lydia cast her a questioning glance, silently seeking permission. After a moment, Marina exhaled. "It's all right, we can talk for a moment." Lydia and Bethany discreetly left the room, giving them privacy. Edwin set the flowers on the coffee table. "I know you said not to come without permission," he began quietly, "but I needed to see you." He glanced at the documents on the table, noticing the words "separation agreement." A flash of pain crossed his face. "So, this is happening," she nodded, tears brimming. "I'm just preparing for all outcomes. I have to protect myself and the baby." He inched closer, voice shaky. "I understand. I was hoping to propose something else, though, counseling. I've arranged an appointment with Dr. Cynthia Martin. She's a top marriage counselor. I'm willing to bare my soul, do whatever it takes to earn your trust again." Marina looked at him, torn between the stinging memory of betrayal and the flicker of the love they once shared. "Do you really think therapy can fix what you've done?" He kneeled on one knee beside her, eyes damp. "I won't pretend it'll be easy or quick, but you're my world. My biggest regret in life is hurting you. I can't change the past, but I can become a better man. If you'll let me try." Marina's breath caught, emotions swirling. She recalled the vision of him at La Sierra with Gabriella, but also the days when his smile had lit up her entire being. She reached out to touch the lilies, inhaling their gentle scent. "I'm not making any promises," she said quietly, voice trembling. "I'll try therapy. But one misstep, Edwin, and I'm done." Relief flooded his expression. "Thank you." he whispered, tears forming. "I promise. I'll show you it's not just words." They sat in silence for a moment, the weight of the separation agreement resting on the table behind them. Outside, the afternoon sun cast soft rays across the lush garden, a subtle reminder that life continued onward despite heartbreak. Within that fragile space, Marina glimpsed the possibility of a path forward, one she would tread carefully, for the sake of her baby and her own dignity. The line between broken vows and renewed hope can feel impossibly thin. For Marina Carlyle, catching her millionaire husband in a secret escapade with another woman shattered her trust, shaking the very foundation of their marriage. Yet from that painful rubble, she found inner strength, a determination to protect herself and her unborn child above all else. With the support of friends, family, and the legal safety net she created, Marina navigated betrayal's harsh aftermath on her own terms, choosing carefully whether to reopen her heart to Edwin's remorse. If this emotional odyssey moved you, please take a moment to like this video, share it with friends who appreciate deeply human stories of love and resilience, and subscribe to our channel for more dramatic, real-life inspired tales. Your support fuels our commitment to bringing you powerful stories that affirm the strength of the human spirit even in its darkest hours. Thank you for watching.